Hello and welcome to our 27th session. Being a programmer is a lot like being a magician. Since you control exactly what the user sees, you can do things behind the scenes to create amazing illusions. That's exactly what we are going to do to make it look like a character is running through an endless world. What will actually happen behind the scene in scene view is that the background object will move left, then reset, then move to the left again, and then reset endlessly, seamlessly, magically. By the end of this session, the background will scroll endlessly, but as soon as a player hits an obstacle, everything will stop. If you take a look at one of the background, you will notice that it's actually two of the exact image repeated twice. So what we will do is get the width of one of those repeating section, and as soon as the background has moved the distance, we will reset it to its starting position. Let us start by first launching the Unity Hub. Come into project and click on the previously completed project, and you can start from there. However, if you doesn't have this project files, you can even start with a new project. Click on new project. In the template, select Universal 3D SRP. Then in the project name, I am going to call this as Jumping Force 4, and in eUnity project, I am going to click on create project. As the project is getting created in Unity, you can come into the YouTube video or in the e-learning page, and here in the bottom description, if you scroll down, we have provided you with a Patreon link. Click on this link to open the Patreon page, and in the Junior Programmer Series Patreon page, if you just scroll down, you are provided with a file, 27 game background scroll start Unity package. Click on this to download it. Now, once Unity is launched, you can come into the project panel and you have a README file here. You can select it, and in the inspector, you have this URP empty template. You can come down and click on remove README assets, and in the confirmation window, click on proceed. If you come on the right hand side in this layout panel, if you are not seeing your layout as you are seeing in the video, you can come here and choose the Sathvic layout. If you doesn't have the Sathvic layout, go to the Patreon page. There is a file called sathvic_layout.wlt. Download it, come into load layout from file, select it and open it, and you will get this layout. Come into the project panel, and in the asset, right click, come into import package and choose custom package. Now select the downloaded 27_jump game background Unity package and click on open, and in the import Unity package dialog box, see that all is selected and click on the import button. Once we have our asset imported, you can come into the scene, open scenes, and you have this jumping_game.scene. Double click to open this. Now in this scene, I will select the player, press F. I will alt left click and turn around, and if I have a look at it, you have a background image that is placed here. If you carefully observe here, this is the center origin point of this image. The image on the left hand side and the image on the right hand side are the same. If I want this background to constantly keep scrolling along the x-axis, if I move it, say if I move it like this, and as I move, and when this comes at a back at this point, I have to now move it back and set this here. See, this is the starting point. Now the idea we are going to use here is, as soon as the screen comes at 30.2, I want this to be reset back to 46.2. And by doing so, we can have a scrolling background. We are now going to come here into scripts, right click, and we are going to create a new mono behavior script, and I am going to call this as repeat background and press enter. Wait for the script to compile. See that the name here in the class repeat background and the file name are the same. I will double click this script to open it in Visual Studio Code. If you get this pop-up, click here, yes, I trust the authors. I will come into this repeat background class, and after the open flower bracket, I will press enter, and I am going to declare two variables, and both of these are vector3 variables. The first one is, I will add / create variable to hold the start point of the background. Press enter, and I am going to call this as public, and this is a vector3 type of variable, and I will call this as start position and end it with semicolon. This start position value, I know it, so I will press equals, and we just tested it, this will be equal to new vector 3, and along the x-axis value will be 46.2 f. Then next press enter, add two forward slashes, create variable for end point of the background. I will press enter and I will call public vector 3, and I am going to call this as end position. Press equals new vector 3, and in open close bracket end it with semicolon, and here the x-axis value will be minus 30.3 f, and y is 0 and z is 0. So now I have two values, start position and end position. As soon as the game starts, I will now come into the start code block, transform position. That is, the position of my game object will be equal to my start position. Then in update, the scrolling happens when this transform position becomes equal to end position. Then I have to reset it back to start position. I will press enter and I will add if condition, and in open close bracket the condition I am going to test is the transform dot position dot x. We are only concerned with the x value. If it is less than or equal to end position period x, then I will come out of this background, press enter, add open close flower bracket, and inside this transform dot position should be equal to start position, and end it with semicolon. I will go to file, save this. Now I will come back to Unity, and once the script is compiled, I will drag this script and attach it to my background object. My background object already have a move left script, and to that I have added this repeat background script also. If I come and play the game and check it, see now it is moving, but the problem is the y value has been set to 0. I will stop the playback. Y value is actually 9.5 and z value is 4. I will come back to script, and the start value will be, y will be 9.5 f and z will be 4. Now in end post variable also 9.5 f and z will be 4. So I will come to file, save it, come back to Unity, allow the script to get compiled. Now if I play the game and check it, still we have having the issue. I will stop the playback. The problem is I have to change it even here. I will set this to 9.5 and 4, or otherwise in the repeat background I can click on the edge here and click on reset. When you click on reset, it will take the value from the script. Now I will go to file, save it, and now if I execute the game and if I check it, you can now see it is scrolling. See, it is moving now. As soon as the value becomes minus 30.2, it changes. So now you have a continuous scrolling background running at the backside. I will now stop the playback. Although now the concept of this continuous scrolling background is working and everything is fine, whatever code we have used in this repeat back, if I double click to open it, this is not the right kind of coding, because in coding the most important rule is do not reinvent the wheel. When I write a code for repeatedly scanning a background, this code should hold good to any background, and irrespective of the size of the background, anyone can take this code, apply it and make the background scroll. Now in that case, hard values that we have given like 46.2 minus 30.3, these values are specific to my background, and when they use it for a different background, then they have to change all these values. Now as a programmer, as a game designer, we should always think about providing a generic script which can be used with any kind of image. If I come back to Unity, the very first condition we have in this scrolling background is you have to create two images and place it side by side, so that from the center, left image and right image are the same. When this starts scrolling and starts moving, to not see any gap here, as soon as the center of my image reaches the left edge of the image, then it should be reset back to original value. For our logic to work, we need only one data of this background image, and that data is what is the x length of your image. When my image travels half of this x value, then it should be reset back to its original position. See, if you come into the hierarchy, we are going to use this background element, and this element is a 2D sprite. See, that's why if you come into inspector, you can see SpriteRenderer. In the very first session, we had installed this SpriteRenderer, but it is showing install 2D sprite package means now we have started this with a new Unity file and we have imported the assets, and in the assets you will not have packages. I have to install this 2D sprite package. Now once my 2D sprite package is installed, you will see open sprite editor. So if you come into the hierarchy, I can right click, come into 2D object sprite, and by adding a square, they have created this background, and for that square they have allotted an image. For this background, there is a component called as SpriteRenderer. We are going to catch this component to determine the x value or the width of my background image. Now in the script, I will select this repeat background script, double click to open this. To make this code generic to work on all the scripts, I am going to come into this public class repeat background, and the first variable we have declared variable to hold the start point of the background. This one I will leave it as it is, but the only difference is I am not going to make this public, going to make this private. I doesn't need this control in my inspector. I am not going to allot it any value. I will end it with semicolon. I doesn't need this end position. Instead of adding this end position, I select this comment and this line, I will delete it, and now I will add 2 forward slashes, and now I will create variable to hold the repeat width of the background. I will press enter, and this also I will keep it private. This is just a float number, and I am going to call this as repeat width, and I will end it with semicolon. I have just 2 variables. As soon as the game starts, this line will be now reversed. Start position will be equal to transform.position. I will add this semicolon. I will press enter, and now my repeat width will be equal to, I have to now get the width of my background image. I will go into get component, and in lesser than greater than sign, I have already shown in Unity my background is allotted with a component called as SpriteRenderer. Come out of the closing greater than arrow, I will add open close bracket, press period, and in this there is bounds. Press period, and in bounds I have size, press period, I want the x value, but the x value is the total width of the image. If I want the distance from the center of the image to the end, then I have to divide this by 2, and I will end it with semicolon. When I come into update, here when I test the condition, now in Unity if I come back, see this image is now going to move from right to left. This x value is going to decrease. So coming back into Unity, if my transform.position.x as it decreases, if it becomes lesser than or equal to my start position x value, I have to minus repeat width here. My transform.position should be reset to the start position. So with this logic applied, I will now come to file and I will save it. Come back to Unity and allow the script to compile. In the background, you have repeat background script, and here you have no parameters to change. So now if you just play the game, and now if you check it, see now the background is moving, and as soon as its distance becomes repeat width value, see automatically it moves back. So now I will stop the playback. I have a repeat background script which I can upload it on Unity Asset Store, or I can share it with anyone, so that anyone who is building a game like this, if he wants his background to get repeated. Whatever may be the size of the image, if we apply the script to the background, starts repeating and you will have an endless game appearing. Programming is not just about solving the problem, but it is also about how it addresses that problem generically so that the solution you have given works on any game, so that your scripts can be used not just in one single game but can be used and applied in any game. So with this I am going to conclude this session, and in our next session I have another challenge. When I play the game and when my player is moving, when he hits an obstacle, my background should stop. This we are going to achieve it in our next session.